These are 10 steps to winterizing your motorcycle. Hey guys, SUBMOTO here. Oh, it's been a while since I've motovlogged on my bike. It seems like all the motovlogs I'm making now are how-tos, like for the well, I'm building a bike, and I promised you guys I'd do some videos on that, so that's why all of the how-tos. It's getting pretty freaking cold, slowly but surely, and to all you all that are not going to ride your bikes during the winter, you're going to want to store your bike, put it in storage, or park it somewhere. And when you do that, there are some certain steps that you have to take to make sure that you have less of a hassle whenever your riding season begins again. And for that, I've put together 10 steps. Now, be aware that there are a lot of different opinions on this matter. And I know that a lot of people are going to come with, you know, things that I forgot to mention or things that you do differently. And that's because there's a million different ways of doing it. So this is just my 10 steps to winterizing your motorcycle. Change your oil. I made a video on how to change your oil, and when you do that, make sure that your bike is warm. And the reason for that is because if there are any particles in your oil, they will come out easier. They will loosen up and come out easier if the oil is warm. And that's what you want to do when you winterize your bike. You want to make sure that you don't have small particles and dirt and crap in your bike, and just keep it as clean as possible during that winter period. So change your oil, even though it's not due for an oil change. If you do it during the winter, you won't have to worry about it at a later time, and trust me, it's going to be good for the motorcycle anyway. I mean, fresh oil is always going to be good for your bike. What you want to do for your paint, you want to protect your paint somehow, and a good way of going about it is by waxing, getting some wax product to protect your paint. Another thing that's really going to be good for you for the whole bike is WD-40. Now, I'm guessing WD-40 exists pretty much anywhere in the world. And what I do is I put WD-40 on everything, pretty much, that's metal. Basically, what you want to do is just get rid of all rust and give it like a little, like a thin layer of WD-40, just to give it that protection. In fact, I do that during the winter when I don't, I mean, not for winterizing, but just for riding during the winter. I will use like about a can of WD-40 every 2 weeks or so, sometimes even every week, because they spray salt on the streets, and that really makes your bike rust. So I use WD-40 like that, and I leave it on there, and that protects your bike pretty well. You want to grease your chain, because that's like one of the first things that's going to start rusting, is going to be your chain, and you do not want a rusty chain. Now, for riding your bike, I definitely would recommend chain oil, because it's thicker and it sticks to your chain. And you want to spray it on the inside of the chain, because when the chain turns around like that, it will spray outwards. WD-40 is really thin, and if you spray WD-40 on your chain, it's just going to splash out. First of all, you're going to get it on your clothes, you're going to get it in everything, but it's not going to stick to your chain. So a lot of people use it to lubricate stuff. So if you need something to be, you know, mobile, you want to grease that up. A chain needs to be greased up, right? So it's a whole different kind of oil. Make sure you use the proper kind of lubricating oil or spray for your chain. The whole idea in protecting your gas tank from the inside is to avoid rust. You don't want your tank to rust from the inside. So obviously leaving your bike outdoors is going to have a different impact on the inside of your tank as it would indoors in a warmed area. What's going to make your tank rust is going to be condensation. you know, if your tank is filled up to the rim, you're not going to allow it to make condensation on the inside, obviously, so that'll prevent rusting. My definite recommendation is just to fill up your tank. Leave it there. Man, this gas is like eating up the paint. I'm having to actually repaint this. Sucks. Oh well. The reason you want to stabilize your gas is because gas, you know, believe it or not, it goes bad. Gas goes bad. Gas only lasts optimally for about 60 days or so, you know, 1 to 2 months. So what you do is you buy some gas stabilizer. You can pretty much get that at any gas station, I guess. And you basically just mix that. You mix that with your gas. And that'll stabilize your gas, meaning that you'll be able to have it for longer periods of time without it going bad. Pretty cool. Wish you could do that with milk. But, you know, if you do that, you want to make sure that you run your bike also, right? So you pour the stabilizer in the gas tank, and then you ride a bit and make sure that that stabilized gas gets in through the whole the fuel system. Because if you don't, you're going to have old fuel in your fuel system, and it's going to rot, and that will probably result in problems. So make sure you do that. The next step is to protect your tires. Now what you want to do, if you leave your bike out during the winter and you have them in the same position, your tires are gonna get like deformed, so that they're like more flat on one, like the surface that it's or the side that it's been resting on. So when you ride the next year when it gets warm, you'll have the go-gonk, 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 go-gonk effect. And I don't know, you know what you call that, but it's just you know, if you have a center stand on your bike, that would be a good option. Also, just to make sure that your tires don't touch the ground. And also a good way of protecting your tires is to park your bike on a piece of wood, because first of all, that's going to absorb a lot of moisture, and it's going to protect your bike from the cold. I mean, assuming that it's going to be standing in a cold area. Now your battery. If you leave your battery in your bike and just leave it like that, it's gonna die. And the reason for that is because it does still pull some power, even though it's everything's switched off and nothing. It's as long as it's plugged in, it's going to be pulling just a little bit of power, and that and the cold is also going to drain your battery a bit. So the best thing to do is actually to take your battery off your bike. A lot of people leave their batteries on their bike, like if they're indoors, and just like plug it into a charger. You definitely want to invest in a charger. It's going to cost you like $40-50 to get a good charger. You obviously can get some that are more expensive, but just something that'll keep your battery alive. And it's definitely worth it to get a charger if you have an older bike, or just any bike for that matter, because you're going to be removing your battery all the time anyway, and recharging it. So the best thing to do is just take the battery out, put it in like a room temperature area, and plug it into the charger, and that'll keep your battery alive. There's no point in destroying your battery due to cold, and I'm having to deal with that the next year. Tack! Jeg synes nok, jeg kan genkende jer fra... Yeah! There was a couple of, or 3 guys that took part in the gentleman's ride. Yeah. Empty your carburetor bowls, right? Obviously if you have a carburetor bike, but I'm guessing that most of the people watching this channel are going to have older bikes. So if you have a carbureted bike, you want to empty the carburetor bowls, because they're going to be filled with gas too. And if you leave them there, they'll make like a thin layer of icky stuff if you don't. Just to avoid that, just make sure there's like a screw at the bottom of your carburetor, like the bowl. Just open the screw or the bolt or whatever, and that'll empty your carburetor. It's really easy. So step 9. So covering your bike. Now this is another controversial topic, because I'll tell you, I don't cover my. I used to cover my bike, and I had, like, those silver bike covers, and a lot of people do cover their bikes where we park. But I noticed that whenever I did cover my bike, it got a lot of condensation, and it rusted real easy. And I'd have to give it a lot of WD-40 to avoid that. And I think I saw a video. I think Revzilla made like a video at one point on like how to winterize your bike. There are like a million videos out there. But anyway, and he said that a lot of people have noticed that that it not covering your bike and just letting it snow on your bike and rain on your bike and all that is actually better than to cover it, because it'll have less condensation. Obviously, you're still going to have to protect it with WD-40, whatever your product you're using, to avoid rust, no matter what. But again, to each your own. But go ahead and research it. Go ahead and research it. What I've found out is that it's better not to cover your bike, so I don't cover my bike, and it's given me less problems. That's me. But again, it's going to be different from place to place where you live. So if you live in like a dry area, it might be a better idea to go ahead and cover your bike. It depends. So last but not least, you're going to want to fill your liquids. So if you check your brake fluids, your fluids is what I mean. You check your brake fluids. If you have like a water-cooled engine, make sure your coolers are all filled up and stuff. I've always had an air-cooled engine, so I don't know. Never tried it. But just all the liquids that are supposed to be filled out, make sure to top them up and make sure that everything's the way it's supposed to be. That's the last step. And if you take those steps, those 10 steps, in getting your bike ready for the winter, I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. And yeah, there are different ways of doing it and different stuff you can do, and whatever, this and that. But if you take those steps, you should be fine. I hope that helps you out. And if you have any questions or anything, just leave them in the comments. And if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. We're all here to learn from each other. So anyway, that's pretty much all I had for you guys today. So remember to subscribe and ride, and I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.